Hi, this is Dr. Quevedo. Thank you for watching. In this video, we will identify some of the main eras in the history of database systems. Before we have database systems, we were using a set of independent files to store information like data that later we will define as a database. And we also have to design a number of application programs to manipulate the data that was contained in such files. This is actually seen as the first generation in the history of databases, and it is actually a great learning experience because of the number of issues that were associated with the use of a file system prior to the implementation of databases. There were issues like redundancies, potential inconsistencies, lack of security, concurrency issues. Just to illustrate one of those possible issues, let's suppose that we have reservation systems for a given airline in which there is just one available seat for in a flight for a specific destination, and we got three potential customers that are interested in purchasing the last available seat, and we are processing those three transactions at the same time. So whoever finishes last is the one that is going to keep the seat, because the ones that finish earlier, the data that they save will be lost when the last transaction finish and overwrites that file, because each one of the transactions, what they have is that they load a copy of the file from the file into the working memory when they are processing the transaction, and then there is no way that they know that somebody else is also working on that file. So whoever finishes last is going to save the information back on that file information. So this is just one of the possible examples. Okay, so then after the file systems is when we actually have the development of database technology that we can divide in three main eras. That is based on, we can say, on the model, like using some type of data structures, navigational, SQL, relational, and post-relational. So for navigational, we have actually two generations that were happening almost at the same time. One is hierarchical and the other is called network. So now the navigational era is the idea of designing some type of structures in which we store the data, and they were using mainly pointers to follow the in the design of that structure. Like, for example, in the hierarchical, they were using more like a tree model, with the idea like most business applications have a hierarchy in the application. Like, for example, there is a department, and then from the department we have employees, and employees maybe have dependents, and they kind of follow like a tree structure. And but however, they were also found at the same time that not all applications follow like a tree structure. So they started, instead of following the strict idea of a tree, we were using, and said, well, we can put pointers in any direction, and that will be got into the network database. Okay, so now the next era is the one that will be the fourth generation, which is the relational database, in which one of the main data languages that is being used is the SQL, but it's based on the idea of sets, and then there is a way of manipulating the sets using a set of operators that is a relational algebra, and one of the representations of the relation is using those sets is using tables. And by the 80s, With the idea of object-oriented, there was the idea of using designing systems that were based on the objects, and the objects have properties, and then using an object-oriented language to do the manipulation. But at the same time, there were others systems that were doing a combination of object and relational, and other, systems that sometimes we call that the non-SQL. Please, please keep in mind that this brief history of the centralized database is to better understand later the history of distributed databases, because a distributed database is gonna be a database that is gonna be using the logic of one of the technologies that we discuss in this video. Thank you. Thank you for watching.